Welcome, everyone.
I can hear you.
Yay. We are live.
Marissa, there we go.
And yes, I'm glad you can hear me. Live on LinkedIn and YouTube at the same time. This is Business AF, episode 21 with the bow tie guy, Daryl Perry. Welcome to the show, Daryl.
Hey guys, can you hear me all right?
Yes, we can.
I fully intended on being in my office, but then one of my agents had a meeting I had to help them with, so I got pushed back a little bit.
That's all right. That happens sometimes.
How y'all doing?
Good.
Very good. Daryl, I've spoken to you. I kind of know what you do. Chris is not as familiar with you yet. I'm sure he'll be seeing you around on LinkedIn. So why don't you tell us what you do and what you want to be known for?
Yeah, basically, thanks for the introduction and for having me on the show. So what I do is I help small businesses compete for talent with better benefits. With low unemployment, it's hard to get good employees if you only offer a paycheck. So I try to find solutions for them that they can offer at low to no cost to their company. Because let's face it, small business doesn't have a limited budget to throw at benefits and higher compensation. So I try to find them ways to do that without breaking the bottom line.
Right. That I think is a very key thing for businesses. They're always looking at the bottom line, and if you can help them do that, that's awesome. So I know that that's what you do on a regular basis, and that's what pays the bills. But how have you utilized your personal brand of the bow tie guy in order to, help that? And how, I think your personal brand is very strong. So I'd like you to speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, I'm gonna pop my headphones in real quick. 1 second.
Okay, no problem.
There we go. Giving you guys feedback. I don't want to give you feedback.
Okay.
All right. So my personal brand kind of happened on accident. I used to cold call people all the time to set up meetings, and I would call from a phone that wasn't my phone number, so it would show a different caller ID. So when I would set the meetings up, when you meet people, they don't see you on the phone. You got to say, well, how will I know who you are? And I would say, I'll be the guy with the bow tie, because that's just the thing I always do. And then my mentor overheard me say that and said, oh, the guy with the bow tie. Awesome. I like that. You should use it as a thing. And from that point on, it just kind of became a brand name, because everywhere I went, I had a bow tie. And people would even say, when I left, if a person approached my client, they say, yeah, some guy with the bow tie helps us with our benefits. They might not always remember my name, but they would know some guy with the bow tie set up their insurance. So that kind of was an accident, but I embraced it just because it was different. Nobody was doing it, not nobody, but it wasn't like a thing. So total accident, but I just embraced it for what it was.
Do you, well, yeah, I mean, that's like a kind of a genius thing to come up with and stand out from the crowd. And bow ties, I think, are a lost trend. We definitely don't use those as much, or men don't use them as much these days. I can kind of identify with it because I always have my clients asking me, oh, you got a new headband? Because I've been wearing headbands like for the last, couple months, I guess, when the trend came about. And now it's like, oh, like, what headband are you wearing today? So it's definitely so, and I'm like coordinating, I'm like thinking about different headbands I can use for like different like events, or like if I'm going to a client meeting and their color is like purple, then I'm gonna like wear a purple headband just to like remind them, like, hey, like, I remember your brand, I know what you're about.
Feel left out now.
Nothing wrong with that.
Chris. You can come up with something, Chris.
Yeah, my style's pretty laid back and chill. Yeah.
You be the glasses guy. You got epic hair though, so the hair helps.
I should just wear the glasses with I'm almost there. Remember the glasses with the nose and the mustache? That's God's favorite beard.
Yeah, that's true. You definitely fit that. So I want to talk a little bit about, how you've utilized, I guess, LinkedIn. I know you adopted LinkedIn very early on. My question to you is kind of like, how have you utilized LinkedIn, to further your personal brand as the bow tie guy?
Well, as of late, I kind of make it whimsical and funny because, insurance isn't really like a exciting and fun topic. So, in a past life, I was a rapper. I was dead set on being a hip hop artist, and I even had a point where I had a diss track against 50 Cent that it actually got some traction. If you ever hear of a website called SoundClick, I had a song on there that was dissing 50 Cent because he dissed my town of Newport News, Virginia, and it got to be #1 for like 5 weeks or something on this website. So
Nice.
I like to bring my musical talents into the game. So when I do my little raps and stuff on LinkedIn, I'll always do a bow tie reference or fix my bow tie in the video just to make it different. And because it's just, like I said, it's boring. And I constantly, when I'm out meeting people, I was at a meeting with one of my agents yesterday. And then I walked in the room, the young lady's like, "Oh, I know you from LinkedIn." Now, I've never spoken to her before. I've never seen her like a comment. I've never seen her message anything. But she's like, "Yeah, I've seen you on LinkedIn before." So for me, it just makes that memory of, it's a boring topic, but if you think about it, you'll remember the bow tie pops in your head. So I just try to make it fun. And even like I do bow tie bars, or my business card has a bow tie in the back of it. So it's kind of like all over the place. And these are actually neckties. For a little unknown secret, these are just neckties.
Oh, wow.
I figured out how to tie a necktie like a bow tie.
Oh, wow.
Which accentuates it, makes it bigger, makes it more pronounced. Because I suck at tying a real bow tie. So for those of you watching, I am horrible at tying regular bow ties. If you send me one, it'll take me 30 minutes to tie it. But a necktie bow tie I can do in like a minute.
Nice.
Yeah, I have a hard time with bow ties too, actually. I have a few of them. But, yeah.
Yeah, super hard to do. I have like 5 that I wear sparingly because I don't want to spend 30 minutes tying it. So it's got to be like a special event for me to wear those.
Anytime I have to put a bow tie on, I always go on YouTube because I always forget how to put it on. So I always have to go on YouTube and try to
That's how I saw the necktie thing. I saw it on YouTube.
You
I
guys
didn't know
should
you could do that.
do like a how-to video on YouTube on how to tie a bow tie. That would be.
I guess now maybe I should do one because I'm known for it. I guess that's a good idea. I saw it on YouTube back in like 2013 when I first saw it. And there's some guy in a barbershop talking about it. I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. It was like 7 years ago now.
Yeah, I didn't know you could do a tie into. Well, I guess it makes sense, but I never heard of someone doing a necktie into a bow tie.
Yeah, I got to credit whoever I saw it from, but I have a ton of neckties. So the logic was I want to buy a whole bunch of bow ties. I got a bunch of neckties.
Yeah.
So
cool.
I haven't worn any of them as a necktie in years. It's been always I wear them as a bow tie now.
Nice. That's interesting.
So just a total accident, but it's fun. I mean, all the time I'm in a grocery store. Oh, I love your bow tie. So it just became a thing. And I love any man that embraces the bow tie. It's very classic and elegant and things like that. So to me, it just helps when I present something that's not so fun. It just adds a little splash of entertainment or personality to it.
Well, it's a different conversation starter than how's the weather, or like how you're doing, how was your weekend, right? You talk about the bow tie.
Yeah.
I think people get so very caught up on like the small talk, like they don't want to talk small talk, but I think that's what ties you to, makes you human, so to say. It's not business all the time, but it's still business because your personality shines through that. So, we're talking a little bit about, your personal brand and stuff like that. And I know that there's some regulations involved in, what type of content you can share, what information you share when you're talking to prospective clients, especially on social. And that's kind of the same for like insurance industries and like financial industries, anything having to do with that. I know there's regulations. So how do you generate business without breaking the rules? Like without.
Yeah, so I dance the line. I guess I'll say I'll dance the line because I'll never specifically endorse a certain product. The biggest single regulation for insurance professionals is you can't go out there and say everybody should get this kind of life insurance. Everybody should get this kind of whole. Like you can't do that. because everybody's very different. So I definitely talk about the concept of things, but I never specifically endorse a certain product just because I don't want to create the wrong message for the wrong person. Other than that, logoing, they don't want you using their logo and things, so I don't usually use logos for anything. Because I want to show me. At the end of the day, I look at insurance like I'm a carpenter, where I'm going to build what you need, but I'm going to use whatever tools that are necessary. So it might be a life product from this person, disability from this person, whatever carrier it is, but that's where I'm going to not logo a lot, so I don't have to worry about that. Because people want to buy from people they know. They don't care about the brand as much nowadays. They want to know you're not going to rob them and cheat them, and you're telling them a good product, because there's so many options. It's really having someone sit down with you and explain it versus throwing out there this brand's the one end all be all for everything. But it's definitely a challenge. A ton of insurance people tell me all the time, man, I want to do videos like you. I just can't. Like, you can. You're focusing on what you can't do versus what you can do.
Right.
And I've always been that way with everything in my business. Is what I can do is what I focus on. So I know I can't say you need to buy this kind of policy. That's fine with me. I can tell you why it's beneficial to have life insurance, or why it's beneficial to have disability in case you can't work. That I can tell you all day.
Yeah, definitely. I think.
So do you work for yourself doing this, or do you work for a certain company?
Say again, Chris?
Do you work for yourself doing this, or for a certain company?
No, I'm independent, so I work for several companies. I have a team of about 10 agents that helps us with distribution, but we represent several different carriers depending on the need. The main thing is voluntary benefits, which voluntary benefits is just a fancy word for something that pays you when you're sick or hurt. Right. Primarily, you'll see different brands like Aflac do that, Colonial, Guardian Life, but I'll use a couple of those carriers, and my team helps to enroll those products.
Yeah.
So if a company tells me, like, hey, I need something different, I'll change product.
Okay.
Got it.
So do you also work with businesses, or mainly businesses?
Say it again, Chris.
Do you work with are you B2B mainly?
Yes, individuals and businesses. I'd probably say 85% of my work is with businesses, and when I say a business, it's 3 people. It doesn't need to be like 20 people. My smallest account's for 3 people. But if it's a individual, like I'm working with a gym owner, he runs the gym, it's just him. He doesn't have any employees. But my question to him was, well, great, you're running the show, doing a great job. If you got hurt and couldn't work, how does this place operate? And he's like, well, that hasn't happened before, but I don't know. So then we're like, okay, let's talk about something to cover that just in case, because the entire business is you. So if you get hurt doing a new exercise, you're kind of, not useful to the business. So we got to protect that somehow.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's a good mindset to look at it from, because I think a lot of people, they're like, oh, I'm going to work for myself, but they don't have the business sense, or they didn't take business. I didn't take MBA classes. I don't know the back end, and I had to learn it as I'm going. It's the same thing. I asked that question you just asked, what happens if you get sick? I'm like, oh crap. I don't know. You got to write out processes, and you have to have protections in place, and that's crazy. I think for someone, at what point? So my question to you: at what point should they talk to you? Is it month 1 when they just got laid off from their job and they have to find, some money, or is it at what point is the best time to really think about this if you're starting a business?
So there's 2 answers for that. If it's you have a business with employees, I'm usually going to say probably around year 1, at the end of the first year. Just because businesses fail in the first year, you're trying to figure out, do I know how to lead employees? Do I know how to hire and fire? Do I know how to do onboarding? All that, the stuff you mentioned for MBAs, even MBAs don't know that stuff. So don't think it's a difference. It's still, they don't know it either. So that first year, I'd say after year 1, I'll tell a startup, if it's a startup, I'm like, how long you been a startup? Oh, 2 months. You're so energetic and enthusiastic that you're not thinking clearly all the time, in my opinion. So when I got to sit you down and say, we need a process for benefits, we need a process for this, it's like, what? Process? I just want to go and change the world. So let's do year 1 for a startup. Now, if it's an individual, sometimes they'll do sooner because they have family obligations. They're like, hey, I got a wife and kids, blah, blah, blah. There's some money in the bank, but I'm trying this gym thing on my own. I would do sooner for them because there's a more immediate loss of income for them than with the business. If the business fails, you can sell everything and still, turn a dime. Maybe if you sell all your product and equipment and all that, there's a way to get that back. But if you're just by yourself, you don't always have that if you're like a consultant or a life coach or I had a blogger. A blogger years ago on LinkedIn messaged me and said, hey, is there any kind of coverage for if you get in a car accident? Because I got in a car wreck one time and I couldn't type for about 2 months, at least not full speed. So her not typing full speed for 2 months was a big hit to her income because she's a blogger. She's supposed to type a lot of content. So for her, she said, I want a coverage that pays me for that. And it was just her, no employees, she lived at home. But that's where for her, I said, you know what, you need this kind of policy because you're dealing with that situation. And it just happened. So this depends. So startup, about a year, individual, there's a little bit of a gray area for them.
Yeah, I mean, and it's also, I think people think there's all these things that they have to, if they're a business owner, they have to do all these things, like get an accountant, get insurance, and then they start getting overwhelmed. So how do you ease that?
Yes.
How do you ease that, that conversation into something that's like necessary versus it's a burden for them to like implement this in their business?
Well, the good thing when you mentioned overhead and all that, most of the products offer small businesses don't cost them to set up. So most voluntary benefits you find don't cost the employer. They're just a good to have kind of thing. And with unemployment being so low, it's easier conversation for a startup because I might meet, like I just left this mechanic today. They have 11 employees, but there's a lot full of cars. So she's like, yeah, we need like 4 or 5 more people. We just haven't been able to find them. So, okay, well, how long does it take you to find an employee? And she made like a frown face at me. I'm like, 45 days. She's like, about 3 months sometimes. So I'm like, okay, for 3 months, you're behind schedule. You're paying overtime. You're paying Indeed. You're paying ZipRecruiter, all these different websites to find employees for you. And then you got to go recruit them and you got to interview them. You got to train them. All that costs at least $4,000 usually to do that. So when I can kind of mention, there's a way to help you cut that time down by offering benefits because people want options. The internet's been great because of so many options. I could video somebody, I can meet them in person, I could do pictures. That's why the internet's so valuable. When you talk about businesses, they want options too. So employees don't want just the paycheck. That doesn't work anymore. So I can level with the employer. Like if you want to fix this, you got to offer them more than a paycheck because everybody has that. And that kind of gets the ball rolling. Like, oh, you're right. Because I have people been asking me in my interviews, what benefits do you have? And I keep saying nothing. So that allows them to answer that confidently and not pay any money for it unless they want to. Some clients do pay, some don't, but I'll give them the option to.
That's definitely I know culture and like benefits and like perks is like big for like getting a 9-to-5 these days or a contractor, like what is the value and how do you treat me? Because I can go to Walmart and work tons of hours and make the same amount and still pay benefits or whatever. That's awesome. Chris, did you have something you wanted to ask specifically?
I was just curious because even as an employee, I think it's important for you to have these things, not just as a business owner. Because as an employee, your employer will only pay you the certain amount of time when you're injured, for example. And then after that, then you're not getting paid anymore. So you need something like Aflac or something if you get injured to help bring you some revenue and a certain percentage of your total income. So how do you ever try to target? So as individuals, you talk about business owners. What about employees as well?
So with the business owner, it's more of a conceptual conversation. Like, what do you do for your staff? Like you mentioned, if they couldn't work for a pregnancy or they got hurt or cancer, it's more conceptual for them. For the employee, is very much, I start the conversation out with how important is your paycheck? That's usually how I start any conversation with an employee. And they'll say, it's super important. I work 80 hours a week or whatever it is. So, okay, that's awesome. How do you protect it? And I usually get the 3-headed dog look, like, protect it? How do you protect your income? And that's when I get into, okay, I'm going to explain 4 different options, maybe 5, depending on the client. And let's figure out what fits your lifestyle. So if I meet the 22-year-old female that just got engaged, I might talk about disability in case she gets pregnant and can't work for a while. Versus the 32-year-old that plays golf all the time and hikes, I might tell them to get an accident plan just in case. But everybody can have their own choice, so it's not specific to one person. It's based on their needs. So it's a very personalized conversation. But the employer, I'm just telling the concept, like why, what do you need to have? What are you looking at doing? What are you trying to grow to? But each employee is different because we all have different health issues and family history. So that's where I want to make sure it fits their need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 'cause, now I own my own business, but I mean, I've always had different side things, but now I'm full time. But even as an employee, I found it very important to have these things in line because you don't know what may happen, especially because I play sports.
Yeah.
So I may get injured, and when I do get injured, what's going to happen? Like I said,
Right.
my employer will only pay for a certain amount of time, a certain percentage, and then after that, then they're not. You're only as good to them for like as how much time you spend on site, right? So,
Right.
Yeah.
That's very true. I mean, I had one of my clients years ago. He was an ex-football player that ran a gym, and he was practicing with his son one day, and then he tore his knee and had one of those mega leg casts that went from his foot all the way to his thigh. And he's like, "Man, I got really messed up. I can't train anybody for like 6 months." And he was the boss though. But I mean, just imagine the employee. The employee gets sick like that or gets hurt, and they can't work for a while. It's like you said, they're only as valuable as the hours they put in.
Yeah.
Because it's just business.
Yeah.
You can't pay them forever. We can't all be Google and Coca-Cola and places like that have unlimited, great benefits. So you do have to think as an employer, what can I do to make them want to come back? That's the thing I think about now is your business a pit stop or a final destination? And it's usually a pit stop if it's just a paycheck, because everybody has that. If it's a final destination, you have perks like you mentioned. Maybe it's, college reimbursement, it's discounts. You have different things to make people want to stay there. That's very important in today's day and age because culture is built up over years. But benefits can take like a quick decision. Like, let's get some benefits to help the culture. Maybe they'll like being around here more than they can see how cool I am and how many fun events I do and stuff because they stay around more than a month.
All right.
Right. My laptop was about to die, so I had to run and get my charger. So technology,
okay.
I have so switching back to your like bow tie guy, your personal brand a little bit. Do you mostly talk about like, is this a brand that you exemplify on all the social media platforms? Is this something that you're just doing it mostly on LinkedIn right now?
So I'm one of the weirdos that I'm all in on LinkedIn. I used to do Instagram and Twitter and Facebook, and my audience doesn't usually migrate there. I like Instagram. I think I had one client interaction for a plastic surgeon because they had a new opening and they said, "Hey, we're brand new." That was a startup situation that I found that way. But generally, I found myself spinning my wheels back then. Now it's probably been 3 years or so since I've been on other platforms because for the last 3 years I've been just solely LinkedIn. So my audience is business owners and HR executives and solopreneurs, which they're all on LinkedIn. So that's kind of my place. But in other channels, when I network in real life, when I get my business card out, when I do a presentation, it very much is there. I always make sure if I'm going to be seen by masses, I try to make sure I always have a bow tie on. It becomes a gift and a curse because when I don't have a bow tie, they're like, "Where's your bow tie? You're supposed to," that's the curse part of it.
Right.
So with your headbands, you ready for your headbands? Yeah,
right?
your headbands are going to expect you to wear it every day now for the rest of your life.
Yeah. I know, like, but, I think last week someone was like, "No headband today?" And I was like, dude, it was like one day, like in the 3 months that I didn't wear.
Yeah, I get it all the time. If I just run out the house real quick, it's like, "Where's your book?" Oh my gosh! So I accept it. I appreciate people remember me for that.
Yeah.
But I've thought about things like TikTok because I mean that's a new thing. I've thought about that. I just haven't got into it. I just have to make sure my time versus return is good there. So my time for Instagram wasn't returning me results. My time for Facebook wasn't returning results. If you sell direct to consumer, if I did that direct to consumer like Chris asked about for individuals all the time, then Facebook would be great for me. But that's a very small portion of my business. So for me, I'm the weirdo. I only do LinkedIn.
Do you have a presence on those platforms in terms of like if someone were to like vet you, or is it just you're just not there?
YouTube, I have a channel that has a couple of videos, but oddly enough, a client I got years ago, I called them and I sent the email to the person. I looked at their email, sent them an email, and I sent them their picture. And this is in 2014. And then about 2 hours later, I got an email back with my LinkedIn profile. So she searched my name And then my name popped up on LinkedIn, and she's like, I found you, ha ha ha. And I've been a client ever since. And that was from finding me a LinkedIn for Google. So she Googled my name. I think I'm not the only Daryl Perry on LinkedIn, but I'm the one that shows up highest because of SEO and everything.
Right.
So she found me that way. And that's happened to me a few times where people say, oh, I looked you up. So even though I'm not on other channels, I think LinkedIn likes me and it's vetting me out when people search my name. You either see my name or a guitar company. If you search Daryl Perry, you'll see me or a classic guitar company. That's about it.
Mm-hmm. And you utilize, I think, the community that you've built, like in connecting with other people and being interactive. So, I mean, I see you very active, and I'm very active myself. So it's kind of like, that's awesome. But what is like your ideal? Like, how much time do you spend on LinkedIn? Like, do you have a set amount where you spend X amount of hours on it per day, or is it just kind of when it happens?
It's kind of, I know in the morning I definitely am on LinkedIn. Like every morning I'll try to do reply to comments or like things and things of that nature. And then I also try to send voice notes to my, this is a new thing I've been doing about a week. My new connections, I'll send a voice memo. Or when I see the congratulations and birthdays, I used to just send the message back, but nobody cares about that in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I'll do the voice note. Happy birthday, have a great day. And I genuinely just want to let them know I'm a real person and I'm not a bot. Because LinkedIn has bots now. There's assistants doing things. So I want you to know, no, this is me. I sent you a voice message to say happy birthday or congratulations on your new job or whatever. So that's been about a week. That is challenging to keep up with when you have 21,000 connections. It gets challenging because I realized when I started doing it, I'm like, wait a minute. I got a lot of connections that I'll get like 20 birthdays a day.
Yeah.
And I get replies from those birthdays after I say happy birthday, they'll reply back. And everything is just starting to compound now.
Yeah.
So now with mornings, it definitely happens. I'm to the point now where I think I'm going to have a block every afternoon of like 2 hours of just LinkedIn stuff, because that could be content, liking things. That's just, that to me, I've had a lot of followers for a long time, but I didn't really engage them until probably starting in 2018. So now that I'm doing that, I'm seeing the results are great. I met some great people. I mean, I met Shanae Murray. I'm sure you guys have seen her on LinkedIn all the time. I met her just by engaging her partner a lot on LinkedIn, and she introduced me to her. We had coffee, and all of this was meeting people offline. So it does take more work. I would recommend anybody trying to get into this have a set time, whether it's a set time of day or a certain amount of time. When I just freehanded, I'll still moments when I'm like waiting for coffee or waiting for a client, I'll jump on LinkedIn like that all day. But my intentional time is always like 7 to 8. Usually every morning before I head to the office, I'm on LinkedIn doing something.
Yeah.
Do you do it on your phone or on your laptop?
I'd say 90% on my phone, because the laptop, I don't like the functionality as much for certain things. Like the reactions, I like to just hold the button and swipe the reaction instead of having to click it and then move it over. That's just sounds minor, but that's extra time for me.
Yes.
And even my content, I shoot my content on my phone. Like I don't really do like a video and all that. And I probably should. I'm noticing some other content creators that are higher level than me. And I'm like, well, I need to get a fancy camera and a tripod and all this. But guys, for watching this, I just use my cell phone. It's nothing spectacular. I'm using the app. I edited it myself. There's no team here. It's just me. So I'd recommend people that are looking at this to just start with what you have. If you like your laptop, use your laptop. My camera's better on my phone, so I use my phone. If one day I have a 1080p laptop, maybe I'll use my laptop. But right now, I use everything on my phone for 90% of my content. If it's an article, I use my laptop. But if it's anything else, I'll use my phone.
Yeah, I think it's just became, I mean, you're talking about, just spending time in it and investing in it. And I think that's just what needs to be done, especially since you are targeting business people. And I talk to a lot of people that are targeting other business minded individuals, and that's where they need to be on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And you do video. I mean, you do lives, and that is like a big thing, which is like a lot of people are not comfortable with, I guess, but they're live.
I was nervous for a while. Yeah, I was. Shanae was my first live. Shanae and Courtney Herring. So if they're watching, I can't see the comments, but shout out Shanae Moray, Courtney Herring. I had live for like a month before I used it. I applied, and I think I got it like this is weird. I got the first time I asked, I got live, and I'm like, oh wow. I saw a video saying there's LinkedIn Live, and I was like, how do I get it? So I searched how to get it, applied, and I got it. And then for like a month, I sat on it like, oh my God, what do I do? People are
Yeah.
going to see me live. What am I supposed to say? And I was doing video already. So I had to think like, wait, I'm already doing video. But then Shanae and Courtney said, hey, we're going live. You're going to go on with us. Like,
Nice.
sure, what the heck? If you guys want me live, you're like the beast on LinkedIn. So if you want me live, I'm all game. And they use StreamYard. That's how I saw StreamYard was my first time with them.
Mhm.
So ever since then, I'm like, oh, I could do this.
Yes.
And I hear so many people that say, I want live access. So that's why I invite people like you guys are doing. Say,
Mhm.
come on. If only a few people have live, let's be stewards of this tool and
Right.
share it, because there's things that people don't want to hear from me every single week.
Mhm.
So why not share it with somebody else and embrace the content?
Yeah, it's funny because people are like, "Oh, you're always online, you're everywhere," and I'm like, I really only go live once a week and then do a video. Like it's
Oh,
like
really?
two pieces of content, but like it's follow up. It's the follow up. It's the engagement that really, I think, puts it on there on the feed all the time. You know, it's like Marissa responded to this, Marissa liked this, blah blah blah. You know, and it's like it does help. You know, for prospective clients and building that community out. So one of our traditions that we do on our Business AF podcast is ask a random question, and this week Chris is on the spot to ask that random question that gives us a little insight into who you are. So take it away, Chris.
Yeah, so I want to since one of your things is bow ties, I wanted to ask a question about that. So if you can tie a bow tie on anyone, who would it be?
Ooh, nice.
Ooh,
Nice.
if I tie a bow tie on anyone, who would it be? That's a good question. I'll say, for just celebrity personality, I'll say The Rock. I think it'd be funny to see The Rock with a bow tie.
Nice.
I
wonder if
big
it would
and as thick
fit.
as he is.
Yeah.
With the
Right,
stick
that's
guy
why.
too, doing this, like doing this, come here with the bow tie on.
All right, we
That'd be
put
The
that
Rock
out
for that,
into.
and then I'll put that into world. And then for LinkedIn personalities, I'm gonna call out Brian Schulman. He's been good with the
Brian.
Voice Your Vibe.
Yes.
Yeah, Brian's
He's
engaged
in
in my
San
lives and
Diego
stuff like
too.
that. Perfect.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Brian Schulman. I want to see him wear a bow tie. That'd be funny.
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, the bow tie challenge.
Yeah. Oh.
There we go. Hey, that might be a thing. Maybe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
start
That's
company. So
awesome.
what I would do is after this video gets uploaded to YouTube, share it and then tag them in it. And
Oh
then
yeah.
have them do it.
Yes. We're gonna manifest that for you.
That'd be
Rock
cool.
is gonna be visiting your town in Virginia, and then you'll go live, and it'll be a thing, right?
Hey, why not?
Awesome. Well, Daryl, thank you so much. Bow tie guy. I was about to say, well, bow tie guy, thank you so much for so it works, right? Daryl,
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate you joining us and talking a little bit about your personal brand and also your business.
Yeah,
if people
Thank
want to
you.
connect with you, go ahead and let them know how they can connect with you.
Yeah, definitely LinkedIn is my primary channel. So go on here, message me, follow me. I check it constantly, within reason. And also, if you ever want to, I'm brazen enough to give my phone number to people on LinkedIn. So my phone number is 678-664-8517. If I don't answer, my system will send a text. 678. Yep, 664-8517. If I don't answer, I have an autoresponder to text you, or just text me, whatever's best for you. I love to engage with people, 'cause I think this is a people business. Whatever we're doing, it's people. So
Right.
I don't think it's business to business, it's human to human.
Yes, definitely. I definitely agree with that. So thank you again for your time, Daryl. We will see each other on LinkedIn, and hopefully in 2020, there'll be an in-person connection at some point, somewhere.
It'll
along the
happen.
line.
I've met
Yes.
a few people online from LinkedIn, so I'll meet you at some point.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Well, enjoy your Tuesday, and we will talk to you soon. Bye, everyone.
All right. Thank you.